Have you ever felt the sting of a man's silence? Not just any man, but one who clearly wants you. You can feel his craving. His eyes linger. His energy shifts when you're near. You sense the depth behind the way he looks at you, not just a physical hunger, but an emotional, even spiritual desire. And then he goes quiet. He pulls away. No explanation. No closure. Just silence. To a woman, this feels like emotional whiplash, like being cherished one day, then ghosted the next. But what if I told you that this silence doesn't always mean rejection? That it may, in fact, mean the exact opposite. That he wants you so much, it terrifies him. This isn't about excuses. It's about understanding male emotional psychology at its core, the internal conflict between desire and vulnerability, masculinity and emotion, freedom and connection. Why his silence hurts, and what it might really mean. A woman's mind naturally fills in the blanks. When a man goes silent, the assumptions come rushing in. He's losing interest. I said or did something wrong. If he wanted me, he'd fight for me. These thoughts are valid, but they're not always accurate. Sometimes, silence isn't rejection. Sometimes, silence is overwhelm. For many men, craving a woman deeply doesn't make them pursue her more aggressively. It actually makes them pull away. Not out of indifference, but because their emotional system isn't equipped to process the depth of what they feel. The emotional divide, why men and women process desire differently. To understand his silence, you must start with emotional wiring. From a young age, girls are encouraged to talk about feelings, seek connection, and express vulnerability. Boys are taught to suppress emotion, prioritize logic, and value control above all. By adulthood, many men have internalized this unspoken rule. To be strong means to be stoic. So when a man meets a woman who stirs something real in him, when she touches his soul, not just his body, she doesn't just attract him. She destabilizes him. He's no longer in control. He feels. And to a man trained to view vulnerability as weakness, this emotional opening feels like a threat, not a doorway. Craving her, but afraid to lose himself. When a man pulls away, it's often because this feels too big, too fast, too vulnerable. I don't know why I'm in this. He may be craving you so much, he fears losing his identity. Desire disrupts the emotional system he's relied on for survival, the image of strength, composure, independence. You stir something raw in him, and he has no tools to handle it. So instead of leaning in, he hits the brakes. This isn't game playing. This is fear. The spiral of silence, a painful emotional dance. Here's what often happens. He pulls away to process what he's feeling. You feel the distance and seek reassurance. He feels pressured and retreats further. You panic and try harder. He shuts down completely. It's a heartbreaking loop. But the tragedy lies in the misunderstanding, not in the love itself. Because deep down, many men do feel. They just don't know how to feel safely without losing their sense of control. His fear of not being enough for you. For many men, deep desire comes with deep responsibility. He may be asking, am I ready for her? Can I meet her emotional needs? Will she see through me if I'm not fully secure? Will I fail her? These questions don't always make it to his lips, but they swirl inside his mind. And if he doesn't feel solid in himself, financially, emotionally, or spiritually, he might choose silence over risk. He doesn't want to show up and disappoint you. He'd rather disappear than be seen as inadequate. Masculine identity and the pressure to perform. Masculinity is often performance-based. From early boyhood, men are taught their value lies in what they do: provide, protect, win, fix. So when he meets a woman who stirs deep emotion, he doesn't just feel attraction, he feels pressure. And if he's not yet rooted in his purpose, if he's still figuring out his life, his career, his stability, then even the right woman can feel like too much too soon. Not because she's wrong, but because he's not ready to be seen in his unfinished state. Why chasing backfires and stillness attracts? Here's the truth that most women don't realize. Freedom is oxygen to a man. He doesn't want to be needed for your emotional survival. He wants to be chosen from a place of wholeness, not chased from a place of insecurity. When you panic, over-explain, or try to fix his silence, it confirms his deepest fear, that intimacy equals pressure, not peace. But when you stay centered, still grounded in your worth, you create a magnetic force. You're saying, I want you, but I'm whole with or without you. And to a man battling his own emotional chaos, that stillness becomes irresistible. The power of a woman who holds her ground. You don't need to chase, beg, or fix. You don't need to collapse under the weight of his uncertainty. You need to remain radiant. When he sees that your identity doesn't fall apart in his absence, that you can handle the silence without sacrificing your self-worth, he feels safe to return. Not because he was guilt-tripped, but because your strength soothes his fear. Because your confidence confirms you're not trying to control him, you're inviting him. And for a man who craves you deeply, that is everything. Final truth: when he's silent, trust yourself. His silence is not always your fault. Sometimes it's a reflection of the war within him, the fight between the man he is and the man he's becoming. You are not here to solve that war for him. You are not here to pull him into clarity. You are here to stand in your truth, hold your peace, and trust your own worth. Because when you do, when you stop chasing answers and start owning your radiance, you become the woman he can't forget. Not because you needed him, but because you never needed to lose yourself to love him. In summary, a man's silence often stems from emotional overload, not lack of desire. Masculine identity is tied to control, competence, and emotional suppression. Deep craving for a woman stirs vulnerability, which can feel like a threat. Chasing triggers his fear of emotional entrapment. Stillness builds trust. Your self-respect in the silence is more powerful than any words you could say. Remember this: the most unforgettable woman is not the one who demands his presence, but the one who stands strong in his absence. And when he's ready, if he's truly a man of substance, he'll return not because you begged, but because your energy called him home.